I'm going to preface saying this because I know you have talked about this 1,000,000 times, but you did bring up the past year how much your teammates have helped you. So we would love to hear about what happened a year ago, as much as you're willing, as little as you're willing, whatever you'd like. But I mean, I'll just share it. Like, I am deathly afraid of sharks. Like I will not even go into the ocean. So hearing your story has just been so impactful. I can't even imagine all of it. So I would love to hear your experience.
Yeah, I'm done with oceans for now too. So, so I guess 2 days after my college graduation a year ago, I was going on a trip with one of my best friends, Sophie, who was actually the captain of the Yale swim team my freshman year. And we were celebrating my graduation from college and hers from medical school. And we, on our first full day there, were snorkeling, and we were kind of leisurely making our way back to the boat after we had snorkeled for 30 or so minutes when, seemingly out of nowhere, a shark came up and started attacking us. And it was really aggressive, like bumping us and ramming us, and we fought back, shoving it and kicking it, and I think that was just the only thing we could think to do in that moment. But pretty quickly, it had my leg in its mouth, and the next thing I knew, it had bitten off my foot and part of my leg. And we screamed for help, but no help came. And so we made the split-second decision to swim for our lives to safety back to the boat. And it was roughly 75 yards in the open ocean water. And I was footless and bleeding. And both of us knew that a shark was still circling, and the shark actually came back a second time during the swim back to the boat, but thankfully didn't bite either of us that time. And immediately upon getting on the boat, Sophie tied a tourniquet to stop the bleeding on my leg and save my life. And when the bleeding didn't stop enough the first time, she actually tightened the tourniquet a second time and held my bleeding leg up against her chest the whole boat ride back and ambulance ride to the hospital. And I look at that, and like we were talking about the power of team, like that is just an incredible moment of, yes, it was incredible that Sophie had the medical knowledge to do that and had just graduated medical school, but that's a friend and bravery and strength and courage and composure in the face of nightmare. More than it is a doctor, and it's the power of team and friendship and selfless love. And I'm truly forever indebted to her. It's like incomprehensible to me what she did for me. And from that hospital, I spent a few hours in the Turks and Caicos hospital. My family was actually in the United States at the time. And those were really long, painful hours, waiting to be airlifted to a Miami trauma hospital. And when I got to the Miami Trauma Hospital, I wasn't yet allowed to see my parents who were meeting me there because I had to be taken to the resuscitation room. And the first person I saw getting off the ambulance was Hannah, who was a senior diver and Sophie's best friend. And all three of us have been friends in college. And she was actually in medical school and rotations at that exact trauma hospital. Wow. And so she was able to be with me in the resuscitation room and before I could see my parents and during all my scary surgeries, which was another like incredible miracle in my story of just like in this world of unluckiness of what happened, there was a lot of luck in how it all played out, in terms of the fact that I'm still alive and we stayed conscious in the water and calm and able to make decisions, and that Sophie was there and Hannah was there. And I went through 2 life-saving surgeries in Miami to fight infection, and then I was airlifted to New York for my 3rd surgery of the week, which was a transtibial amputation on my 23rd birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing all of
thank
that
you so
with
much.
us. I mean, saying that we're sorry that that happened doesn't even like begin to cover it. We're so thankful that you're okay, and your courage to share your story and everything that has come since. I truly think it's going to impact more lives than you can ever imagine. So just thank you for your courage. Thank you for your bravery. And I can't even imagine the emotions that would have been going through your head in that hospital. How was it the first time you did get to see your parents and see your family after everything?
My family, I'm so lucky that my family is such a tight-knit unit, and It's almost like I used to have this when I came home from college where I think I was fine and then I'd come home and hug my mom and actually feel so like,
Oh my gosh,
I was excited,
yes.
everyone. And that was kind of the same thing that happened where I think in those early hours I knew I was in a life or death situation and at risk of bleeding out or dying, or I needed to stay strong. And so I actually remember in the Turk's hospital, my mom started crying on the phone and was like, I'm so sorry this happened. And I was like, don't cry, Mom, don't cry. Like, it's not time for that yet. And when I first saw her in the Miami hospital, that was the first time I cried. And so we all just were there and crying for a little bit. And then I think we actually had the head surgeon of the trauma hospital come in and say, before I save your leg, I need to save your life. And that kind of quickly put things in perspective for us of, it's one thing to know it, but it's another to hear the head surgeon of the trauma hospital say it to you. And so from that moment on, they were just, I mean, even before that, but the most incredible support I could have had. And my mom stayed with me on the phone in the Turk's hospital, repeating mantras with me. She's actually a cognitive behavioral therapist, so those skills came in very handy. But yeah, I think that was one of the, like a moment that we will share forever and think is just one of those moments where everyone was like cut to their core. Just a raw emotional moment.